Welcome everybody to my presentation, Solving Problems as Chemistry Exam Prep, an incomplete strategy if time management is not involved. We all know that COVID-19 posed a very challenging situation for our students. It had a really negative impact on the students' social life. No campus life, no hanging out together. There was a new reality of communications. Of course, we knew FaceTime and Messenger before, but we didn't know that at a certain point of our lives, we would be stuck with these to communicate because we couldn't see each other in presence. It did also affect the learning by peers. Of course, planning, organizing, working together can be done online, but it's not the same thing as when the students are going together in the library working on their homework or a lab report. So basically, I wanted to help them in this area, and I decided to go for the core of the International Baccalaureate program, the ATL, the Approaches of Teaching and Learning. I am a chemistry professor at the IB program, and basically I wanted to use these core approach to help my students. Why I did go there? Because I didn't want to add an extra layer of technology. Students at this point are already swamped with platforms and Padlet and Moodle and Zoom and so many other great tools, but right now they have to learn these on top of learning their content of chemistry. So this is really a heavy cognitive charge for them. So I decided to go with two approaches. Obviously, the first one, these are the 5 approaches to learning put forward by the IB. So obviously in this presentation, I'm talking about self-management skills, but I also wanted to put it into relationship with an approach of teaching, which is the one which is a teaching informed by assessment, formative and summative. And my objective was basically to make a relationship between both. So when I'm gonna be able to tell the students how to self-manage themselves while they're doing exercises, they're gonna be better prepared for the formative assessment and the summative assessment. Here's how I proceed. I told my students, monitor your own progress. So as you do your chemistry exercises, do the problem, but don't cheat. That means don't start to write something, go see the solution, come back. Just do the best you can until you get an answer or until you're blocked. The moment you're blocked or the moment you submit the answer and decide to go to see the solution is the same thing as if you were handing me over your paper exam. At this point, look at the solution I give you and attribute yourself a mark from 0 to 3. I'm going to come back on that later on. Keep track of the info. Don't keep it in your mind. Write it somewhere. Write it in your notebook. Question 1, I got this. Question 2, I got this, and so on and so forth. And repeat with new exercises over time. So as you move closer to the exam, you should see a progression. So basically, you should see the number of 2 and 3 increasing as you move closer to the exam. If you don't see that, maybe a problem in the way you prepare, so ask for help. At the same time, I'm asking them, also note the time required to get there. Even though you got a mark of 1, how much time did it take you to get there? Compare with the hints I'm giving you. For example, for this type of problem, I'm suggesting approximately 15 minutes. If 15 minutes for you is like, oh my God, I need like 25 minutes, then you need to shorten this time that you use. So if you're a month from the exam, it's not that bad because basically you have time to improve. But basically you should see as you come forward to the exam, you should see that basically the time needed to solve your problem of a certain kind is going to shorten. And of course, keep track and repeat with new exercises over time. As an example, here's a sample question, basic question in solutions chemistry. Balance the following redox equation using in acidic conditions. Then identify both agents, oxidizing and reducing. And I'm giving them the elements of the answer I want. So these are the 5 elements I need. I want to see the oxidation numbers. I want to see if both half equations properly balanced in charged and elements. I want to see that you're able to obtain the full equation balance by canceling electrons. And I want to see that you can identify both agents. How to assign a mark now? Of course, 3 is like when everything is correct. 0 is like when you don't even know how to start a problem, or if you're just able to write a few words and then you're stuck. How about the 2 and the 1? 2 is what I call a minor correction, and 1 is what I call a major correction. A minor correction is a mistake that doesn't have significant consequences elsewhere. That means is what I mean is basically, for example, you're solving the whole problem and at the end, the final answer doesn't have the proper amount of significant figures. This is a minor problem. Or if you do a wrong calculation at the beginning and at the end, all the rest of the solution is correct. So at the end, the number is wrong. Like, for example, the concentration is wrong, but all the rest is pitch perfect. This is a minor correction. A major correction is when you have a mistake or several mistakes that are altering the solving method. So for example, if you're calculating a pH using a weak acid and a strong base, and you don't even know how to properly prepare a reaction table, then this is a major correction. And it's actually interesting while you're speaking with the students to see what is a 2 and what is a 1. Normally, students which are normally on the higher hand will normally be very harsh with themselves. They will make a mistake that as a teacher you don't find it that bad, but they're going to say this is a major correction. Whereas students that are around the average sometimes will say, that's fine, it's going to be a 2. So basically it's kind of interesting to learn from them and discuss with them about their interpretation. And what was the reception? Well, actually, the reception was rather positive. I don't have anything statistically significant to report here, but I have good vibes about discussions I had with like 10 or 15 students since last semester. 3 major things they said. First of all, the strategy is simple and not time-consuming. So I used to give my students in the past like full IB marking schemes, but sometimes students were finding it too hard to interpret, and they were saying like, when we're rushed before the exam, basically we're just not trying to mark, we're just trying to solve the problem. So in here, it seems that it's not too difficult for them, so they kind of appreciate it. Second thing, the famous gray zone. Is it a 1? Is it a 2? It enabled the students to ask questions. These are students started to ask questions like, am I using the good strategy? Is this mistake really bad, or is this mistake minor? So without knowing, they were kind of touching a bit their metacognition, which is for a teacher very interesting. And finally, they said that it contributed to optimize their exam prep. And as a proof of that, yesterday I was proctoring my own final exam, and I saw a few copies where students were writing question 1, 10 minutes, question 2, 15 minutes, question 3, 5 minutes, and so on. So basically, they kind of used it. So this two-dimensional tool basically helped them to monitor their progress, but at the same time, I hope that it kind of lowered the anxiety they have when they came to the final exam. So of course, what I'm gonna do afterwards, well, it was kind of an easy method. It was really based on pedagogy and not technology. So I'm gonna use it, of course, after the COVID-19. Changes ahead for me. I'm gonna ask students to provide their marking in time, if they want, of course. For me, it's going to be an opportunity to basically calculate statistics. And it's going to help me to adapt my teaching. So, of course, I've been teaching for 15 years. I know what's hard for them, what is easier for them. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure that I have blind spots. So maybe by listening to what they're saying through the numbers, I'm gonna be able to focus on some strengths and basically reinforce my teaching when they have a certain amount of weakness. And it's a work in progress, of course. So I'll adapt as time goes by. And if you have any comments or questions, I'll be happy to discuss them with you afterwards. And I would like to thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me.